Record. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Brian J. and Laura Lee with Connecting Communities. Totally forgot where I was for a moment, Laura. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Brian?
I feel 3 pounds lighter with no beard.
I know.
Now I gotta go back and change all of my icons, right?
Right. I know. Everybody's probably tuning in and, as shocked as I was when the camera came on this morning.
I know, you're like... It's funny. It's funny. Yeah, it happened really quick over the last couple of days. And here I am. I always wanted to be like 19 years old, yo.
Doesn't everybody want to go back to their youth again? Well, it's
like,
drastic.
You're like, no.
Yeah, it's a drastic change, but you know what? I think it looks great. It's how I remember you as when we very first met.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because being in the restaurant business, I was never allowed to have facial hair.
Right. Exactly.
So it's definitely weird. Now, I had facial hair, God, for 15 years now, and I've had a beard for longer than that. But the previous beard, I started growing over a year. So it's definitely different. I wake up and I get a little shocked. Rocco thinks it's amazing. I mean, my whole chin, he doesn't have to hide in the beard anymore. But it is cold outside. Let me tell you, it is cold outside.
Yeah, and as I'm doing this new shorter like mohawk style cut, and I've also realized like, ooh, you can feel that chili much quicker when you don't have extra hairs on your head.
Are you a scarf girl? Like, do you scarf it
Oh,
up?
absolutely. I use scarves. I'll tell you what, I have a giant collection of face masks, and everyone sort of makes fun of me because I went real hard into the capitalism side of the pandemic, and I have so many face masks, but especially in the winter, like to go out walking, it's perfect. Throw on scarf, hat, face mask, and it's like you could walk in like basically any temperature. That we've had so far. I'm sure anybody of our viewers or friends in like Minnesota or Wisconsin are like, okay, girl, right? But no, we're talking Ohio weather. So yeah, I do. I'll wear scarves just around the house. It doesn't need to be outside. I just like to have, snuggle up on yourself. Yeah.
Listen though, in bed, I don't like the sheets over my head.
No,
can't do it. Can't do it. I need flow of air.
No, see, I'm a burrower. I'll throw the blankets over my head and then if I'm getting really crazy, throw the pillow on top of the blankets on top of the head. And you just get all.
Wait. How do you get your arm out of the comforter to throw the pillow on top of the comforter?
It's a hole. You're laying on your stomach, okay, and then you pull and you have to prepare so that the pillow's at the headboard. It's a whole thing. My ex used to always.
That you just did is hilarious. We need to do like step by step. Like step one.
My ex was convinced I couldn't breathe under there. He was like, I don't know how you make it through every night. But I'm like, I don't know. It's my happy place. It's how I feel most comfortable. Right? All cocooned up.
It's the comfort. I have a question. You just said something that kind of put something in my head. So the person that I'm seeing, they refer to their ex as an ex. They don't give a name. Like they're like, they don't deserve a name. They're just the ex. Are you the same way? Are you, versus saying a name, you are like the ex? I'm a former wife. Like I typically say my former wife versus my ex-wife.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a problem like naming him, but I usually just refer if it's like friends when I'm telling a story and they like people know him, then I'll say his name. But other than that, like I'll just be like, oh yeah, my ex, because it's generally like who exactly his name is not, pertinent to the story. It's not like, but there's no like major beef, which, this is the first time in my life, any relationship that I've ended on a like positive remaining friends note, which is hilarious because you wouldn't think the marriage ending would be the one where you change your streak.
Right.
being a jerk to your exes, but
It happens.
it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to break the streak.
It's kind of funny because Jackson's mom, Holly, she will be talking. Now, mind you, Jackson Roberts is 9 years old, right? We have known each other for 10 years now. We were married, we were all that. And she'll still tell me stories and be like, well, my siblings. I'm like, your siblings? I know who they are. Your brother was one of my best men. Like, it's okay. And, it's like she's talking to strangers, and she's like, you have it. Or she'll be like, my aunt's coming over. I'm like, Robin, like use words.
Yeah. It can be awkward. Yeah, it can be awkward.
Cat's going crazy.
Oh yeah, she's playing with her fluffy ball. It can be awkward, navigating those relationships though in those after times, like especially when you have a situation where you have to keep communicating, like where you have kids together. So it's always nice to see when people can do it on a positive level. It's not always possible, but it's always good to see that too. So
it is.
I'm trying to model what my dad said during my parents' divorce, which was, we messed up the marriage, let's not mess up the divorce. So
I love that. I love that. That's one of the things I'm very fortunate with, between Susan and Holly. We all three have a great relationship, right? And it's kind of funny because now that, Susan and I are no longer together, she still comes to Jackson's events. Jackson still goes over and spends the night. Her and Holly will talk. I mean, it's very out of the ordinary, right? But it's our normal. It's just, it's crazy. It's not crazy. It's pretty awesome, if I'm honest. It's very easy and very convenient, and the boy just gets love. And isn't that what this is all about?
Exactly. That he just is, and and that's one of the things that I always loved about, like, growing up. I spent a lot of time in communities of communities of color where I was the minority person, and especially in like inner city Black communities, the concept of family is much larger than how suburban white people usually conceptualize it as, like, our specific families of origin. And so like I love just like thinking about having a mess of cousins, and like just like having people that it's like like Jackson, what does he say, like Aunt Susan or whatever, just
so
stuff like that.
He still calls her his stepmom.
But hey, perfect.
Yeah.
Because that's what she is. That's how he
Susan
identifies
has been around
her
for as long as he knows. I mean,
exactly.
Holly and I, obviously we're married, and Susan was part of our life. And then when Holly and I divorced, Jackson was only 13 months old. So I mean, all he knows is Susan. So, this was a big change for him. So really, at the end of the day, nothing has really changed for him because he still goes and spends the night with her. She comes over once a week and we do movies or we do game night. Like I said, she comes to all of his games. I mean, he's in, you don't even know, America. COVID is real, okay? He is in quarantine right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So he got exposed. So he is in quarantine right now, which, let me tell you, I've been trying to be creative. So if any ideas out there, let me hear them. Yesterday, we watched Silver Spoons together via Zoom.
Oh my gosh.
Playing games. And I delivered, we got to hang out between the door yesterday. We got to hang out. So yeah, it's crazy. I'm edgy now. Usually by day 3 that I don't see him, I start getting a little edgy. And so yeah, I'm pretty irritated right now.
Yeah. I know. I just had one of my best friends. She actually tested positive, and so 14-day quarantine. And she was just like, she luckily had a more mild case of it, like really just no taste or smell, but just like body aches and like low grade fever, kind of like how you have a cold.
Yeah.
And so, that quarantine is just, it's so hard. It's so hard, even though, and like, even though you can do it at home and, it's a lot, it could be a lot worse, but it's just so hard. I can only imagine. And her son is 9 too, and so he was presumed positive and
Oh, he's living it up because
quarantined.
now mom lets him have all access to Fortnite. So he gets screen time galore
Okay,
right now.
okay. Yeah, so she's got COVID guilt. So she's just like, it's fine. You can play it.
What else does
That's
the kid
funny.
do? I mean, it's
Right? Yeah, I
so
mean, especially when you're, when you're literally locked down, what what else is there to do?
yeah.
I have I have been going absolutely stir crazy the last like 2 weeks. And I honestly think that like this is so like it's kind of it just I don't know, it just shows you who I am as a person. I think it's because I'm on this extended break from grad school.
I was just
So
saying you're
like,
not having anything to keep yourself busy.
Brian, I work 60 hours a week. Like, is that not
What's
enough?
10 more hours, Laura?
60 hours a week, right? 60 hours a week isn't enough. Like, let me throw full-time grad school on there to keep me occupied. Like, oh my gosh, I'm
That's your
just like,
mentality. Because when your brain stops, this is what
yeah.
happens.
Yeah, apparently, like it's so wild to me that being, that 60-hour a week job is not enough to keep me occupied during, but it's also because there's nothing else to do. You can't go anywhere. You can't, hang out with people. It's not nice, it's not nice enough outside to, even
Right.
try to do something outside. So oh, it's just this, we're gonna make it. We're all gonna make it through the winter, and we're gonna make it through the vet till we get enough people vaccinated that we can start to have a normal life again. But
Well, let's
oh
talk
my
about that
gosh, I'm really
vaccination,
ready.
Laura.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. What is that looking like? I'm starting to see some friends that have theirs scheduled. So for those folks
Yeah.
out there that have no concept, what does that look like?
So right now, they are way behind schedule, unfortunately, which I don't think is surprising given the nature of the way everything else related to this pandemic has gone down. The goal was to have 20 million people inoculated by the end of 2020. We've got 2 million across the US. So, we're way behind. Right now, they are working on Group 1A, which is the healthcare workers that have direct access and direct exposure with COVID patients. So those are going to be your in-hospital nurses, doctors, techs, all of those people who actually are working in your hospitals and probably more specifically in your ICUs. And then they'll branch out to the rest of those healthcare workers as well, like your doctor's office staff and whatnot, because they could have potential exposure, direct line exposure as well. And then here's where it's getting interesting in Ohio on Group 1B, which is going to be the next group of people that can get their vaccinations. Mike DeWine is actually going off of the CDC's recommendation, which says law enforcement, firefighters, all for first responders. What they're doing, what Mike DeWine is doing is he's firefighters and first responders like EMS. They are up. Police are not. Police are not up. So there's a big kerfuffle about that. Instead, what they're doing is he's doing all teachers and school staff, and Ohio residents 65 and older.
Well, I just saw that correct me because I could be totally wrong right now, that the fire chief declined until they get the police involved in that piece.
He did. That is correct. The Toledo fire chief wrote a statement and said that he is declining his vaccination out of solidarity with the police. In this I understand that is a brotherhood that police and fire have, and not being in either one of those communities, I don't understand it. So I'm not gonna try to like speak to it or comprehend it. I think it's more, if he wanted to make that choice, he has the ability to make that choice. I wish he didn't need to do it publicly, because we're already going to have such a problem with vaccine hesitancy and with disinformation, because the amount of disinformation that's been in the pandemic to begin with, and then the vaccine hesitancy that already exists, along with another group of disinformation surrounding vaccines. I do wish he wouldn't have made that public statement, just because I do think it lends more into the conspiracies against the vaccine than the point that he was trying to make about law enforcement. But I mean, listen, Mike DeWine is not my jam. He's not my cup of tea. I don't, agree with him on a lot of, pretty many things politically, but he's not stupid. He's not a stupid person, and he's not a stupid politician. So he knew that there would be backlash from it, but there's something in the data that made him make this decision. And that's what I'm deferring to. Is there something in the data that says that the 65 and older Ohioans are at a larger risk than your police force? Which, if you think about it, most of your police force should probably be like fairly fit younger folks anyway, right?
But are they? I mean, think of all the cutbacks they've had on the police the last 5 years. I mean, every year it's the academy's cutting more, or we're pushing it back, or I mean, it's just decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. So does that mean people aren't retiring?
Right. Yeah, I think that right, and then that's a whole other larger conversation about the what does our police force look like, and how is that contributing to other issues as well. So there's because you're right. I think that the problem is that you have a lot of unions are great. I'm a union supporter. I grew up in a union household. But I think 30-year contracts might, expecting people to work 30 years in like law enforcement, I don't think is reasonable. I think they need to cut that way down so that you can have, more attrition, and you're not having 60-year-old dudes riding desks getting paid, so much money that's preventing hiring, younger police officers.
It's not about cycling out. I mean, at the end of the day,
exactly.
My father's mentality is similar to that piece, where he always had told me that, Brian, we need war to kill people. And I remember being younger and thinking, that's horrible and disgusting.
And you're like, wow, Dad, that's dark.
But I'm not going to say we need it to kill people, but it is one of those cause and effects, right? Because death as a whole, we're kind of born to die, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we're born to die. So it's just one of those situations that kind of still amuses me, and makes me kind of think on what that big picture really looks like. I just, listen, instead of dying, let's just be kinder. That's there's that.
So I know I was super upset. I was super sad, not surprised to hear that they're, going slower with the vaccines, and hopefully, in January, when we get a new administration, some of this can change, because part of the problem the reason it's going so slowly is because all of this is being administered by CVS and Walgreens. They don't have the infrastructure to do that. So they're having to hire all of these nurses and phlebotomists and all of these people who have the skills to go out and administer these shots, when we should be doing it through our National Guard, our EMTs, our existing public health structures that have the training and have the folks available. So I am sad that it's going slow, but you know, I'm definitely one of those people that like I can't wait. Like people that are saying that they're not sure about it and they want to know more about what's in it. I'm like, that's fine. I will take your spot in line. Like, I need to get out of this house. I need
Yeah.
to get out of this city. I
Would
need
you consider
just
yourself an extrovert?
yeah. Obvious.
Yeah.
This has been made very clear.
Yeah, I feel like, my group of teen, right? The us extroverts. I feel that no one's checking on us, right?
I know,
The
right?
introverts are like, hallelujah. You know what I mean? Like no one can bother me. Where us extroverts, we're like, I mean, there's definitely some mental awareness that I think needs to happen with some of
Yeah.
these extroverts that maybe never even realized that, but I think that this
Oh
could
yeah.
cause some definitely situations because we can't touch. I am I'm so excited. I ended up going to one of my friends and we were going to do like a painting class. And I was so excited, go paint, have some coffee, enjoy. And then like, oh yeah, it's virtual. I think I can paint at home. I have a paint by
I
number set
know.
over here. I want
Yeah.
interaction. So it's
Yeah,
really
I
hard.
did. I got one of those at one of those paint and pour shops that we have around Toledo. I love doing those.
Yeah.
And so to support them at the beginning of the pandemic, I bought one of those DIY paint sets so that you could do, and they like do a nice job and they trace on the
Okay.
canvas like an outline and they give you instructions and they give you all the paints all proportioned out and everything. And they did a really wonderful job. It's still sitting upstairs because I bought that in March and I am so afraid to even like try to begin without someone standing there and like telling me which
Yeah.
brush to pick up. And so it's like, yeah,
Make
I'm
a
the same
creation,
way.
Laura.
Oh my gosh, that side of my brain does not work. I
Got
am
it.
not, yeah, I am like
I
I
feel
can
you.
type, I can write, I can get it all out that way, but as far
Yeah, I
as
can't
like
draw stick
actual
figures. I
no.
literally cannot draw a stick figure. Listen, I want to get back on this, but I do have a sidestep.
Yeah.
One of my very good friends, Kristen, runs a dance studio here in Maumee. And when this whole pandemic happened, she really started putting things online and doing
Yep.
virtual and adding to it. One of the things that she added was a improv.
Oh,
Laura, I went last week for the
cool.
first time. First off,
Yeah.
everybody in world, she does give your first visit for free. So you can take advantage and see if it's something that you like. And then the classes after that are $15 a week. And it's about an hour and a half, give or take.
Yeah.
Or you could do 4 classes for $50. That's not true.
Okay.
40. Sorry. You could do 4 classes for 40. Um, 50. No, that's not true. It's 50. I just lied. Sorry, Kristen. $50. Because then she'll be stuck doing it for 40. Yeah, it's four
Right.
classes for $50 or $15 a piece. I had a blast last week. And I'm gonna go back tonight. So I don't know if that's improv's your thing, Laura. I would think it would be, just kind of from
Yeah.
knowing. But it was so much fun. Especially now it got very it did get a little dirty.
Well,
It
and
did get a little
that's
dirty.
what's
I
gonna
felt like I
happen
was
when you
playing
have adults.
Cards Against Humanity.
Yep, yep.
Did you see that they have a kids version? Kids Against Maturity.
Oh my gosh, stop. I love it. I love
Isn't
it.
that crazy?
Yeah, well, I was like, I thought the kid version of that was that game Apples to Apples. Like that's what everybody
Yeah.
always compared it to for me. But now they have like a one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean it's absolutely sorry guys, I got a phone call and I had to take very quickly. But no, it was crazy. So I gotta figure out what that game is and figure that out. So but improv, phenomenal. If you want the link to try it for free, it is so much fun, Laura. But back
That's
to
awesome.
good old Corona. So Laura, did you check your bank account today? Because rumor has it, some folks are getting some money today.
Oh wait, today? I
They
wish
were
it
starting to
was.
put money in last night into bank accounts.
Oh, I did not check my bank account today. Maybe I need to go do that. Have a little post-Christmas surprise. That'd be
Right? Yeah, they
nice.
started last night, which I thought was quick. Like, good
Yeah,
for
that
them.
is surprisingly quick. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and
that's when I
I
realized, last night that I moved, and I don't know if they have my email or my new address. So I might not be
Oh
getting a check
yeah. Oh, you'll get a check. It'll just come like
sometime.
right in June, probably.
Yeah, because I don't know if they will forward that check. I don't
Oh,
think they
right.
will
Because
they?
government mail, yeah, it usually says do not forward on it. So,
Yeah.
but they
Even though I
usually
have a
try to
mailing
do them.
address.
Yeah, they do try to do those electronically when they can. I think like with the first one, it was it was more paper checks just because of the president's narcissist tendencies needed to see his name on actual checks, but he has not made that requirement this time with those, so hopefully they could just direct posit that in.
Yeah. So talk to us about Trump. What's going on? He tried to hold up, right? So was he
Let's
holding up
see.
to hold up? Or was he holding up to do something good? Like, was the reasoning well? Or do you believe that he was just trying to be able to close out his term with saying, I tried to get you more money?
Yeah, he didn't participate in the negotiations that have been going on between Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell. He had not been, participating in that at all. Steve Mnuchin, who is supposed to be the White House representative, had been participating, but even the White House and Mitch McConnell weren't even talking to each other and on the same page. So it was a whole mess. He threw that out there, just because honestly, I think it's just because he lost and I honestly think that he wants to tank the two Georgia Republicans, because I just think that he doesn't think that they supported him enough, or that the Republican Party in general supported him enough to get him reelected, or have gone along enough with his coup attempt at all of this, that it feels like it's him trying to punish them.
Yeah.
And Nancy Pelosi is the leader of the House Democrats, and I don't necessarily always agree with her either, or the decisions she makes, but I did love her just taking it to a unanimous consent to the floor and saying, oh, $2,000? Heck yeah, we totally agree, Mr. President. Boom, get your people.
Yeah.
Get your people together. And I was pretty
proud
proud
to be
of that
expected,
move.
though. Like, that had to be expected. No one could imagine that Nancy wasn't going to stand up and say, oh, yes.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody expected her to like throw a unanimous consent, but for sure, she was going to take it and run with it. And I don't think anybody honestly expected it to work out, that we would end up with the $2,000 direct payments. And it's so cynical. All of it is just so cynical. Their reasoning for not wanting to give direct payments to Americans. And it's basically that they just, don't think that regular Americans are responsible enough to do with what they need to do $2,000.
$2,000 isn't going to help anybody, because right now they're already
Right.
too far behind, right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, what difference? I mean, listen, $2,000 is better than 600, okay?
Exactly.
But it's not going to save people. I mean, it's not going to be like,
Exactly.
oh, I can put that in the bank. I mean, at the moment, the $2,000 was spent 3 months ago.
Exactly. And that's what it's all just comes down to, is this Georgia, this Georgia primary, or the Georgia runoff on January 5th. And obviously nobody can read tea leaves on these things anymore, because polling is just so bonkers. It seems like so turnout is surpassing the general. So that would bode well for a Democratic candidate. Generally speaking, when turnout is higher, Democratic candidates tend to win.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know that any political rules apply anymore. So,
right. I'm excited to see how they're going to predict, the next 6 months in the political world, because there's no longer a bar, right?
No, right. The bar has been eviscerated. The bar is like in the beyond the floor.
Oh, it's a puddle. The bar is no longer solid. It's a gas.
It's in the swamp.
Oh, this
Yeah,
world.
it's in the swamp. So but I think you just have to hope for you just see like Biden's people, the people that Biden is appointing, like the appointment of Deb Haaland, a representative from New Mexico, Native American woman, and he appointed her the head of the Department of the Interior, which is basically oversees all of the public lands of the United States. So, giving a Native woman the power over, her native lands is that's huge. That's huge. And that's so inspirational. And and you see stuff like that, and and Pete Buttigieg, as much as people want to shade Mayor Pete for his experience being sum total the mayor of South Bend, but you know what? He's also an Army veteran who served in war and studied at the Rhodes Institute. So like he has other experience, and he's our first openly gay cabinet member. Again, huge deal.
Right.
Sure, he's about as mayonnaise as they come, but still,
we got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
There has to be somebody doing something to say
exactly.
XYZ.
And you have to, and it's just easiest to start with the most palatable people first. So that's how you get the mayonnaise gay boy at transportation. Yeah. But hey, if it's gonna make somebody
really start caring about infrastructure in our roads and our railway systems, and getting any kind of sort of mass transit in this country, I'm here for it. For it. And I think Pete is all on board for all of those things.
Gotcha. Like, just think about it, how nice it would be if you could take, a light rail from here to Cleveland instead of having to drive, you know what I mean? And then just boop around Cleveland.
Right. You know who I want to see? I want to go hang out with Dougie. I want to just sit and hang out with
Dougie Fresh. I know. Second dude, Doug. Yeah.
I think I'm going to make a shirt that says, I want to see Doug.
I want to see Doug. Yeah.
Doug is it's a common name, right? It's not a Kamala or like William or, it's Doug. Just Doug.
It's Doug. Right.
Not Douglas. Not Douglas.
Just Doug. I know it's going to be really interesting to see these new roles for our first lady and our second dude Doug. Like,
is he still called first lady though, or not first lady? What is he called as a vice president?
So the vice president's significant other has traditionally been a woman, and so they're called the second lady.
Second lady, okay.
Which is just like he's the second gentleman, I guess.
That's right.
Second
by default, like with a remainder of one.
Right. Yeah, he's the second gentleman. But I think it's going to be super interesting because Dr. Biden has said that she's going to continue teaching at the community college.
I feel like that is that's her stance. Like Obama took the stance of, this is my phone, you don't get it. So I think that's that whole transition. But let me ask you this, and this is a serious situation when I state this. How much is that going to cost us?
That is a very legitimate question. I do think since it's like one place that she goes for every time, you can set up like certain permanent security parameters, because think about it, think about when like with the Obamas and even with Trump and then the Bushes, who all have kids, and the Clintons, those kids had to have security every day going to school.
That's true. I never thought of that.
Yeah. So it's basically the same, just providing, security for a member of the first family going to a school.
I'm
I would
curious on what
think.
their dynamic is going to be.
I
Because
know.
it's going to, I'm going to say this with fluff, and I'm only saying this from watching Scandal. Okay, I
Right.
love me some Scandal, let me tell you. And I got a subject on Shondaland, so make sure you remind me on that.
Okay.
Totally lost where I was going with that.
What's the dynamic? You said what's the
So
dynamic?
is she going to still, you know, pick the China, right? Is she still going
Right.
to host these parties, or is Dr. Biden going? I love first off that she's Dr. Biden, right? Not Jill, right?
Mm-mm.
Or is she going to do her career and let Dude do his? Dude, sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
President. What?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be really interesting. I do, you know, I think that, you know, I think a lot of that was also, you know, let's not forget she, you know, Dr. Biden has experience. She knows what this is going to look like.
Watching, you know, Michelle do it. So she knows what is going to be expected of her. And I think that she also knows how this is going to sound really judgy, and I don't want to. Like, I'm a person that works. I could not
60-hour work plus school.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I'm a person that works. I couldn't be a stay-at-home mom. I don't think there's anything wrong with people that do that. And if you have the empathy and the compassion to, you know, spend that much time with children and form them, like, that's a skill set that I don't have, and bless you. And so I think that probably watching Michelle Obama, who is, you know, an extremely brilliant and accomplished lawyer, having to go from being the, you know, a working person to this, like, you know, more antebellum traditional type of woman role of picking the china, hosting the parties,
Sure.
doing this. And I think she saw how hard that was for Michelle, and said, you know, I'm finding a better way to balance it, which for me, that's going to be to continue teaching and continue doing my work. So, you know, I obviously she'll do what's expected because, you know, she's Dr. Biden, and she's just as much of a public servant at this point as Joe Biden is. She's been in this for the long haul with him.
Yeah.
So,
well,
you know, she'll balance it.
I think she has some big shoes to fill because people are going to compare her to Michelle. I
Yeah.
think Michelle is that person now that everyone's going to compare. I mean, Melania didn't do anything. Like, what did
Right.
Melania do?
Right.
Like,
Nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
I mean, her stance was bullying.
Right. And hating Christmas. Do you remember she had those recordings on how she hated decorating the White House for Christmas? Like,
yeah.
Who hates Christmas?
Okay. Yeah. So let me ask you this, because I didn't think of this until last night. What is inauguration going to look like, Laura?
Yeah,
With social distancing. Know. There's no ball this year, guarantee you. Right. I mean, what is this going to look like?
I think that I don't think they're going to be, you know, I don't think they're going to have the crowds for the swearing in. I would doubt that they'll have the parade even, which it sucks, man, because this is something Joe Biden has worked for his entire career, right, is to reach.
This is, you cannot get higher than this in American political office, and he doesn't get to, you know, get the pomp.
Yeah, but he doesn't want this. As he has stated, he's that bridge. I don't think he really wanted to be president as much as he wanted to create change.
I think he definitely wanted to be president, but I do think that he knows that he can't. I definitely think that he
spent 8 years watching Barack Obama do it and knowing at his age he can't do it for 8 years.
Yeah.
I think he's more practical in that way.
Well, I'm excited.
I am too. Let's check the countdown. It is 21 days.
Wow.
21 days.
That's 3 weeks.
I know. It's so exciting. Well, you know, that's 21 days. But if you want to get even scarier, the brand new Congress starts on Sunday.
Yeah. Wow. And the Georgia runoff is Tuesday. So it's all happening. It's coming.
It is happening.
2020 you know what else is happening, Laura? What else is happening?
Netflix TV.
Yes.
Have you watched, let me make sure I pronounce this correctly because I never do. Have you watched the new Bridgerton?
I've not started it yet, but
Okay.
it is on the radar. Yes.
It is on my list. It's one of Shondaland's new pieces that she developed for Netflix.
Okay, so I'm all in on Shondaland. So
Me too.
like
Were you a
obviously.
How to Get Away with Murder fan?
Mm.
Me too.
I've been Grey's Anatomy since day one, Off the Map, Private Practice, How to Get Away with Murder, Scandal. I've been ride or die.
Me too.
Ride
I've
or
watched
die,
Scandal
Shonda.
3 times, and every time I watch it, I pick up new pieces, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I loved about Scandal is they never talked about the dynamic of the diversity. Not once.
Yep. They just let it live.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you know who was actually auditioning for Olivia's role?
No, I don't.
Vivica Fox.
Wow. That would have been a completely different show.
Right?
That would have been a completely different show.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm low key in love with Kerry Washington though. So
I
mean,
I think she is the most I love powerful women, right? So
yes.
Kerry Washington. And did you ever watch General Hospital, Laura? I'm aging myself.
I mean, not since like I was forced to by babysitters.
Okay, so you may know. So back in the 1900s,
Yes.
there is a character on General Hospital named Carly Corinthos. Well, she's Corinthos now. But her the woman played her was Sarah Brown. And I love this character that she built. I mean, she was just very conniving. I sound horrible. It was amazing. And it's just a powerful woman. There's another one. Oh, what was the other one I was thinking of? That I just got to. Oh, Annalise Keating. Another powerful woman. I mean,
oh my gosh.
Moments on that. When
Oh
she
yeah.
takes her wig off. I mean, for folks that don't realize the importance of that, I'm going to throw it out there right now. As a white man, from what I know, the Black community to take the wig off and show that piece is huge.
The vulnerability.
It's a moment.
Yeah, it was so powerful to see her like strip all that armor off, take off the wig, take off the eyelashes, take off the makeup. It was just, and then of course the way that she delivers it and like acts the whole thing out is just like gives you chills watching it.
It's like with Carrie when she Carrie, like we're best friends. Good old Carrie. When she would go through her monologues and just rip them into pieces.
Oh my gosh, I know.
You know, just
right?
pounding my popcorn.
Drinking the wine, just like she does, just like Olivia does.
I love it. I think the best part of well, not the best part, the one piece that I always remember about How to Get Away with Murder is when Annalise said, "Why is your penis on her phone?" Like that was just iconic. TV has really come around. You know, Jackson, Robert, and I are watching Silver Spoons, which let me tell you, parents, if you can pull back some of these 80s shows and have solid conversations with your kids, I mean, it opens up everything, right? Now, saying that, that's a dirty little show.
Is it really?
Talk about the bullying, and I mean, they're very sexual on Silver Spoons, which kind of threw me for a loop. And I didn't realize it back then. I mean, obviously, I was a kid. It's kind of like Full House. When you watch Full House as an adult, you're like,
oh yeah, yeah. You see the innuendos, or Shrek if you watch Shrek.
Yeah,
as an adult.
Absolutely. Yeah, you watched it as a kid. I watched it as an adult. Good old TV. So, is there anything that you are binge watching? Oh, Laura is frozen. Oh, there she is.
I'm back.
Look, at least you froze looking good, girl. Okay, you had a smile on.
Excellent.
So, are you binge watching anything right now? To fix that other 20 hours that you're not writing?
Right. I'm catching up on The Mandalorian, the Star Wars on Disney Plus. That one it's a little slower than I usually move on shows. It's more it's kind of set up like a Western, so it's more like plotting and,
Okay.
and there's just sort of like there's like the whole big story, but then each episode are just little events that happen. So you can kind of, you don't necessarily need to pay the strictest attention. So,
Yeah.
but it's very beautifully shot, and it's supposed to take place during the time after the original movies, at that where the Empire falls, but before the beginning of the most recent movies when the New Order has risen. So it's in the in between time.
Got it. That sounds interesting. I mean, I know Grey's isn't coming back until March.
Oh, really? They
Yeah.
must have. Yeah, I was shocked that they were able to come back and do what they did for a few episodes, but that must have been a little harder to shoot than,
Yeah, they only did 16 episodes this season, which is the second lowest.
Oh yeah, the first that would the and the other one's probably the year of the writer's strike.
That was 18. The lowest was season 1. They only had 8 episodes.
Oh yeah, season 1. That's right.
Yep. So what are you? I mean, can it keep going? If Meredith should happen to die, listen, guys, she's not going to die, okay? And she's not going to die this season, okay? No. Let me tell you why I know this. Because think about when Chandra Oh left. They devoted the whole season to her leaving.
Exactly.
They are not going to go out like this. They're going to promo this out. They're going to sponsor it. I mean, I feel that the sponsorship is going to be like Super Bowl come the end of the season.
Yeah. Well, and Ellen, I keep wanting to say Paige, but that's not even their name anymore. Why can't Ellen Pompeo?
Okay.
That's why, because they're 2 P's. Ellen Pompeo, who plays Meredith Grey, has very openly said, she said, why would I leave this show? I'm in my mid-40s. I'm not getting cast for anything, and I make a crap ton of money doing this, and now I'm learning the producing and directing and all of the other back skills. I'm not.
And she's the highest paid female now from like 2 years ago. Yeah. I mean, she will not get cast. I mean, she's been in this role for 17 years. She's Meredith, right? Until maybe another 5 years where she may pull in like a Golden Girls, right? I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, the show, I mean, I still go back. It's my comfort watch. Like I watch old Grey's Anatomy episodes before I go to bed every night. So like, I'm here for it. And I just think about every penny that I'm putting in Shonda and Ellen's pockets with those streaming rewatches. And
listen, I'm on season 8, episode 6. Right now, right now, they are telling the folks that Owen is responsible for that crash.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Woo.
Yeah, I mean, I've rewatched it 6-7 times.
Oh, for sure.
I really like, so I used to rewatch it all the time. And then probably from season 11 on, I watched once, maybe twice. I would rewind. So now being able to watch that, I'm like, oh, I forgot that happened. Because there'll be things I'll totally forget.
Right? Yeah. Because they pack a lot in. They pack a lot in.
Okay, so who do you think is the next star? Who do you think is going to come back next? I think it's going to be Lexi.
Oh, that I would cry. I will cry if they bring back Kyler. I think, going on the vent, as she gets sicker, I think you're right. She's going to see more people. So I think Lexi or her dad might be a good one too, or her mom.
Listen, they come back. Like I see her mom a lot. It's funny because watching Grey's Anatomy, from the beginning, I'm like, oh my God, that's Blake from Scandal. Oh my God, that's Blake from How to Met Your Mother. I mean, all these people filtered through, and then
Shonda Rhimes Shonda Rhimes loves reusing. She loves reusing actors. Number one, if she loves reusing background actors too. So like, if you pay attention to the background actors, you'll see them on other shows like Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder. The other thing that she loves is she loves like very nerdy shows like Firefly and stuff like that. So she'll cast people that have been on like Buffy and Firefly and
Got it.
all of these like very, very nerdy shows too. So then like if you like my roommate was just watching Firefly recently and I saw an episode and I was like, alrighty, now I know how Shonda Rhimes
That happened.
cast him on Grey's Anatomy.
Well, it freaked me out when I saw Quinn on Grey's Anatomy. I'm like, oh my God, it's Quinn.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I love it, and it took me actually just because I love Sandra Oh, I started watching that Killing Eve show on BBC, and I had to rewatch the first episodes a couple of times because it took me a while to be like, not Christina Yang,
Yeah.
not Christina Yang.
Yeah, I'm on season.
But yes,
I
that
want to
show is
rewatch
amazing,
season
and I love
1
it.
so I can
love it
slide
now.
into season 2. But they're on season 3 of that right now.
Dang it, I'm frozen again.
That's okay. It's a cute smile. I can hear you. Well, with that being stated, we will wait for Miss Laura Lee to come back. There she is. There she is.
I
Well,
don't
look, Laura,
know
it's
what
about
is
that
going on
time.
with my internet.
Yeah.
Oh, good, because I don't know what's going on with my internet today.
It's probably the snow that's happening.
Oh,
Winter advisory.
stupid snow.
Yeah. Well, listen, we are going to wrap up. We appreciate your time. I love being able to just kind of recap and talk. We didn't talk anything Christmas. I was going to talk Christmas, but New Year's.
Yay.
What are your plans for New Year's?
I will be hanging out with my dogs and trying desperately to stay awake until midnight.
Okay. That's
How
fun.
about you?
I am heading up to Ann Arbor in the afternoon. We are going to this little oasis, little hideaway. Spend a couple hours in a nice little hot tub and relaxing. Hopefully not too cold. And then the goal for that evening is to be inside, so we're not on the roads. But RuPaul's Drag Race UK, we will be watching, and then RuPaul's Drag Race United States happens that day as well.
Okay, so it'll be a RuPaul night.
It's going to be a RuPaul kind of night, right? Because if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else?
Exactly.
Are you a RuPaul fan?
I have not watched any Drag Race. Like, I've seen episodes here and there, but I can imagine, like, I loved America's Next Top Model, so RuPaul's Drag Race has got to be like that, but way freaking better.
Well, I remember RuPaul in the 90s. Speaking of the 90s,
right?
90s is coming back, Laura.
I know.
Blue jean jackets.
Right? I know. I'm really seeing it on my 15-year-old niece. I know. I'm watching it on my 15-year-old niece's wardrobe. I see it.
It's so funny. So I'm like, I wore that back then and thought I looked good.
I know.
Wait till
and they think they look good now. Oh, they're already there. They're already there. They're just starting. I introduced my niece to them. She hadn't yet seen them, and she was like, "Ooh, I like
hasn't yet seen them." So listen. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go find me a blue jean jacket. I'm gonna find me some bell bottoms, and I'm gonna throw on my combat boots.
Yeah, might as well. Oh my God!
I'm gonna peg them. Did you ever peg it or pants?
Yes.
Like the circulation was cut off at the ankles, and if your feet didn't turn blue, they weren't tight enough. Okay.
It wasn't tight enough. Oh my gosh.
I can't walk. I have no feeling in my feet.
My ankles are blue.
So true. So true. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today and your energy. We look forward to seeing you next week. Any other questions, feel free to reach out to Laura. Laura, talk to us about Toledo Talks.
Yeah, come over, check me out at Toledo Talks, all one word, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I didn't post last week because it was Christmas and I didn't feel like it. So I'm going to post, I'll be posting just one episode this week as well for the holiday, and then get right back into my 2 a week after that. So Toledo Talks, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we'll see you there.
Absolutely. And whenever you see her, you're going to see connecting communities as well. We're all over the place. So be safe. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. And we appreciate your time and energy. Bye.